I'm Matt Sampson, and welcome to the Forecast Factor, where we take a look at how weather influences consumers and business. With me, as usual, is storm specialist Dr. Greg Postel and our business and weather expert, Paul Walsh. So, Greg, it feels like a lot of summer heat's been coming down in parts of the country. Did we leave spring behind, or was it a false alarm?
Yeah, we didn't leave it behind entirely. I mean, if you look at some of the models, they're suggesting that the atmosphere is going to undergo a little bit of a transition during the next week, I think, where some of the indices that a lot of meteorologists look at to sort of get a picture of what the jet stream looks like. The NAO index is one of those, and we can show it here on the graph, which shows you that over the next few days it's going to be going a little bit below zero. And what that means, that index is a measure of how kind of weird the jet stream looks, in particular over the North Atlantic region. So when it's below zero, like we expect it to be in the next couple of days, the jet stream pattern is going to correspondingly have kind of an awkward appearance. It's going to be kind of blocked up over the North Atlantic. And when that happens, when we kind of have a traffic jam in the jet stream, a lot of times cooler air comes back into lower latitudes, and it just so happens that I think in the next, say, week to 10 days, we'll have some more cool air coming back into at least the middle part of the United States. So it's been hot, we know that, but you know, summer's not coming in quite yet in full force.
And Paul, as we predicted right here on this show, we saw a weather-driven rebound in the economy. Yeah. So what's next?
Well, typically what happens when you have one of those sugar highs, when all of a sudden the dam breaks and it feels like spring, you have a surge in business. And we saw that. In fact, it showed up in the sentiment polling that we do, where we saw this huge increase in consumer demand in the end of March and into April. Unfortunately, after that, you typically have a swoon, so there's a bit of a pullback. So we know that it's going to be not necessarily cold, but it's going to cool down a bit for the balance of May. So I expect that there's going to be a slowdown in terms of that very strong demand as we move through May. But when we get into June, I think because of the fact that last June was extremely wet across the East Coast, it's going to be drier than last year. So I think we're going to have another resurgence, and we're going into the summer with a good tailwind.
All right, gentlemen, thank you.
Great, thank you, Matt.